It's Friday, the 26th of July. The sun is shining. Hopefully, it's the same when you are. So, good morning. If it is that time, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to an EPL Index Transfer Special, ladies and gents. Yeah, starting to get quite busy. We are nearly in August, aren't we? Clubs are on their pre-season tour. Managers are even speaking now, isn't it? Liverpool are the only club without a signing. However, Arne Slot did say at a press conference yesterday he probably expects there to be signing before or within the next month. So every club might get on the door soon, or a notch on the belt, as it were. So let's get into the headlines of what's going on today. Quite a few reports about Spanish sensation Dani Olmo. Now, I know he's 26 years old, so he's not really a young sensation, but he was one of the stars of the Euros, wasn't he? And there's a lot of reports that Manchester City and Barcelona are competing for him. Now, we know his release clause expired. Sport, a few of the Barcelona papers said that they sent an offer that's been rejected because of the way Barca has structured it. And Foot Mercato says that City have made an offer. It's well rumoured that Pep likes the player. Mundo Deportivo in all Spain also had that Barca had made something like an initial 40 million and there was an extra 20 million worth of add-ons, and some of the add-ons were like if they win the Champions League twice. So ridiculous, for want of a better phrase. So there you go. But yeah, the latest really is Sky Sports Germany had this. Florian Plettenberg, that Leipzig have rejected any offers so far that fall well below expectations. They're looking back to that release clause as a guidance. So we will see what happens there. United are trying to make moves, and they wanted to sell Wan-Bissaka, that was clear. And they looked at a player called Mazraoui, I think it's pronounced, the Bayern Munich right back. However, West Ham stole the march yesterday, according to quite a few German outlets, that they've got an agreement in principle for the right back. So he's expected to move to the Olympic Stadium at some point, unless it's trumped, and that could be trumped by United, but they needed to sell Wan-Bissaka, as we said yesterday, and now the Mail even has that they're looking at a potential swap deal involving him, because Inter Milan like him, and Denzel Dumfries, the Dutch international right back. So could United go down that route? One person that might be trying to push United's interest in him, whether it's still current or previous, however you want to see it, is Jared Branthwaite. The Mail and a few others have got that he's not going to sign a new deal at Everton unless they match what United were offering as suggestions. They were quadrupling his wages from 40 grand a week to 160 grand a week. So, I mean, that's a huge, huge increase, isn't it? There's no two ways about it. We talked about Ivan Toney yesterday and how he may even be looking at leaving on a free. Again, various outlets now saying that there's suitors, there's clubs interested. We've heard of Spurs, we've heard of Arsenal, we've heard of West Ham, with quite a few, even Newcastle now been mentioned, looking at an option for Ivan Toney, that Brentford will be seeking suitors. I mean, it would be a nightmare, wouldn't it, for Brentford, let him leave on a free. Can you imagine, after all that time, that suspension, they need to get whatever money they can, don't they? And like I said, Arsenal were linked with him. Yeah, there's a dubious one that a few came out yesterday that Fabian Ruiz, the Paris Saint-Germain midfielder, is of interest, which seems a bit strange to what Arsenal need and how bloated that midfield is. You think it's a striker they'd be looking at, but who knows? He's 28 years old as well. However, one that's pretty much certain to leave the Emirates is Emil Smith Rowe. He did not go on their pre-season tour. And we told you about David Ornstein's exclusive that Fulham are very close to signing the player. Interesting player that's of interest now to Aston Villa. We know they'd looked at João Felix, and they're also interested now in Karim Adeyemi. Now, the 22-year-old winger, the young German international, didn't go to the Euros, has had not the best of season at Dortmund, and people were looking at that, but they got to the Champions League, but it's been a bit of a struggle for him. But with his speed and with his raw potential, he's of interest to Villa, apparently, Juventus and Chelsea as well, according to the Mail. Chelsea have been linked with the player. So could there be a few looking at Adeyemi? Things that are waiting to be completed. Jesper Lindstrom, we expect him to confirm that season-long loan anytime. And in an interesting one, we talked about Chelsea's keeper situation. Now they made an offer for Philip Jorgensen. Well, AS in Spanish says that Kepa might be swapped with Lunin. So could Real Madrid swap out Lunin to get Kepa back? We know he was on loan there. That would be an interesting one. A lot. Chelsea is stockpiling or doing deals with keepers. Let's see. The big thing from Ornstein, though, and the other Athletic and other sort of outlets yesterday was the West Ham Aston Villa situation. West Ham made a bid for Juan Duran, the 20-year-old Aston Villa striker. Apparently, a sort of 30 million package where it was cash plus Lewis Orford, a young midfielder that Aston Villa apparently like at the same time as well. So negotiations are still going on there. Speaking of West Ham, they apparently also made a bid for Nico Williams, which Nottingham Forest rejected. Seems a bit strange that maybe it's definitely a right back they're looking at, isn't he? Ben Johnson went. We talked about Mazarawi, now Nico Williams in the mix, according to HITC. Chelsea are buying more players and sending them out. So Sky Italy says they're very close to a deal for a young Rennes centre-back in the form of, and I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, apologies, Guela Doué from Rennes for 7.6 million, with the purpose again of buying Strasbourg. Another player like that. Even Anselmino, the Boca youngster, is expected to complete soon. That kind of was hot, then went quiet, but it looks like Chelsea may be going back for him. They're very much building that second squad at Strasbourg. So we'll have to see if there's any more. On the continent as well, João Neves, Romano, and a few others had that move to PSG, which has been mooted all summer, is getting closer. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. And to finish, Miguel Almiron. We know he rejected a move to the Middle East in January, but a lot of reports have that there's a lot of Saudi interest in him again, and it is expected that he does move. So we will have to keep an eye on that. Loads going on, ladies and gents. Loads of players on pre-season tour who are being linked with things. Loads of players not going on pre-season tour and linked with moves. So we'll have to see what happens. But on Friday, the 26th of July, that was your EPL Index Transfer Daily.